This is Aidan Rees-Heron, and you're watching. In this episode,
first engineer where you want to be, and that should kind of tell you how much time you've got to spend on it.
Okay, it's put the work in now so that you can build what you want to live later.
This is Aidan Heron, and you're watching Property Geek TV episode 51. Now, pretty excited. Everyone seems to be really enjoying these behind the scenes sessions. So in this episode, we go back behind the scenes, and Alan talks through how architects and developers look at architectural drawings. Before we start, I have to quickly apologise. Oh, you're wobbling around a little bit there. I'm recording this on my webcam at home, don't have my big camera, and also the contrast ratio on some of the footage here is a little bit off. So at the start, you won't see the architectural drawings Alan's talking about, but hold in there, don't worry. Lots of valuable information, lots of cool pointers, and at some point later on in the video, we get the contrast ratio a bit better, and you can see the drawings as well. So enjoy.
Giovanni, I'm going to ask you questions on this because I think this would be useful to get a feel for how an architect looks at this versus how a developer looks like at this. Because they're two very distinct skill sets. I have my mindset when I look at this, so it'll be interesting to use. So, the first thing to say is the way the site is laid out, and Giovanni, you're going to have to kind of go in and out a little bit here, so just come out a little bit so that we can see the whole sort of road layout.
Sorry, for me.
You weren't listening.
No, I wasn't.
You were. Just zoom out slightly so that we can see the site layout. Okay,
yeah.
So, the stuff that we want to talk about here is in blue largely and also in brown. Blue is representing surface water and how we deal with that, so I'll talk about that in a minute. And brown, you can see a little kind of brown bits coming from the houses, that represents foul water. So the distinctions between them both, and why do we use two drainage systems rather than one?
Drainage system, right?
You need to speak up.
So say again.
So we've got when we look at drainage here, this is this for me is a big help for me in terms of the way we'll interact going forward. So when we're looking at drainage in terms of the drainage layout here, these little fellas here all the way around the site are all things called soakaways. Okay, so this is effectively taking drainage from the roofs. So you have your roof, you have your gutters, your downpipes. Where does that water go when it comes off? A big cause of flooding in the UK, all around the UK, has been that we've had single systems historically, and so the foul water, so every time you flush the toilet, every time you turn on the tap and let the water way down the plug hole, that all comes into one drainage system, and then you have another drainage system that captures the water that comes from both the roofs and also the roads, and your driveways and various things like that. So as you drive along the road and you see the little drainage grates, that water that goes down there actually goes somewhere. Okay? It doesn't just fall down there and stay, it goes there and it heads up to the next one. When we get flooding, it's largely because one system captures everything and lots of water hits it all at once. So there's no way to put the brakes on. And so flooding is caused not by the amount of water, but by the amount of water that's released all at once. Because you can stop flooding quite easily. And so modern drainage systems stop flooding. Unfortunately, the downside of it is that the developer has to pay for it. And there is a constant you will find as you go on this journey that any time there is money to be spent, it's always a developer that's got to spend it. You do get it back. Government wonder why house prices keep going up. And that's kind of one of the reasons why. We've still got to make a profit. So, here we have a road layout. So the site is delineated by this dashed line all the way around. So we've got a road access coming in here. Nice little layout that takes us up with a few cul-de-sacs off, little private designs. So, how long have I got to talk on this, by the way? Given all the other things, because you know
so
what
we have about 10 minutes each.
Yeah. Okay, I'll try and keep this really quick.
That's 10 minutes, not 1 hour and 10 minutes each.
Yeah. I have a habit.
Nice
So,
to have somebody else snacking you.
so what can you tell me? This is anybody looking at it. When you look at the way the drainage is laid out, is there anything there that strikes you as slightly odd?
It's on the periphery.
Sorry?
It's all on the periphery, so the
It's on the-
scoping going from the middle down there.
Yeah, so effectively, you've kind of got a drainage line that starts here, or a drainage line that starts here. Why would that be?
There's a raised bit in the middle. Can't see it.
Probably. Yeah, we don't actually have, we've got, you need to really zoom in,
So
and we will do that.
Maybe place is lower, maybe the front.
The natural line of land.
Yeah. By the land, largely, the water's obviously falling in those directions, and you can see. Now, there are two things to do with this. You've got here, can you get right into this right in here, Eduardo? We were able to do that earlier, so that it picks up on it. Keep going. And then just bring it back in. These are things that are kind of like basic. So, these fellas here are road gullies. So, road gullies, driving down the side of the road, you have your road shape so that the water falls off to either side, and or can fall off any side depending on how you design the gullies. But this one, you know, you've got a lot of camber on the road because you can see there's gullies on both sides. You've got a manhole. Everybody familiar with a manhole? Understand what they are?
Corbin is.
Like connector where everything comes into.
That's pretty much it. So manholes, interception chambers, they can also be called depending on the different things that they're doing. In this case, manhole in the road. God, there's so many things you have to say about this. So this road is adopted. Now, we'll not go into that, but these roads here aren't. And we'll cover that much later. But these things, two numbers, cover level, so CL and IL. Okay? Cover level and invert level. So when we talk about cover level, what do you think we mean there?
Then we'll go surface.
Exactly it. It's the top of the manhole, which is the road, the top of your road. Okay. And what about IL? So invert level.
Depth of the road.
It's kind of the opposite side of it. So you've got the top of the road level, and then you've got the bottom of the pipe, bottom of the drainage pipe. And what you'll see here is this line here, because it goes to another connector. Every time you change direction, you stick a manhole in place. So on a road that goes round the loop, you need several manholes.
The level goes.
Sorry?
And the level probably goes down. I see the numbers
Yeah,
dropping.
so
is it?
the one thing you get in a drainage drawn as well is you get a flow arrow, so you know where it's flowing, so you know it starts here and it goes down here. It's not uncommon to have a cover level that's high here, higher than this way, but the invert level goes down. So the road does that, but the drainage does that. That's the kind of reason that can happen. In this one, it's telling you the diameter of the pipe. So I read this wrong when we were talking earlier. I read this as 1500 radius, but my eyes were going. So that's a 150 diameter pipe, which is a very standard drainage pipe. So 150 mil or 6 inches if you're old money, at a fall of 1 in 52. So you can, because you've got, if you want to do the math in reverse, you've got an invert level here of 29.96. You started off from 30.32, so you've got a difference of 360 mil over 1 to 52. So you'll be able to work, if you want to do the math, you can work out the distance from that end to that end of the manhole, just by doing basic trick. So that's all noted, and that then flows through. And you can see, so we're going to follow this from that. So that was the start of our drainage line, and we're going to follow it through. So we go here, we change again, we pick up this gully. Interesting enough, we also pick up that gully. This run here takes us at 1 in 44, again a 150 mil pipe. And you can see the drainage line, the flow, obviously still going the same way. We're now at 29.5, so we've fallen 450 mil down to here. And then look what happens. So we then go, so there's obviously gullies here. Which way are they going to flow? No arrow on them. It should be flowing this way. Okay? Back into this manhole. And then the pipe changes at some point. Now normally when I've built these before, you generally always have to put an inspection chamber in here, but it's not shown in this case. And then you go for your pipe changes at that point and it becomes a perforated distribution pipe. Anybody any idea what that's like? Or what that is?
Like the holes in it.
Exactly it.
Filtrate.
Pipe with holes in it. With these, so if you just come slightly further this way, doesn't matter. Just so I can see this. So we've got a soakaway here. So this is telling me, you know, in this area, one of the things that you've got to do is an engineer will have to do a site investigation. So it's one of the costs that we have to bear before we start on the ground. An engineer will, that means basically go and dig in a few holes. You want to test the bearing capacity of the ground, so you take samples, they go away for analysis. You then you do percolation tests. So you'll dig a hole, you fill it full of water, you stand with your top watch on and you'll see how long it takes to go away. If the ground is good, then you can do soakaway tests. You can put soakaways in place. So you hold the water and allow it to percolate through. Let me tell you about this box here and the purpose that it serves in this whole thing, and then we'll go on, because we've obviously got another one up here as well. So these are soakaway tanks. If you're old enough, you remember milk crates? Yeah? Anybody remember them? And because we all come from far and wide, yeah, you'd never remember milk. So, is that the thing you get in the supermarket? So, it used to, in the olden days, Aidan, you used to get people who would come and deliver your milk for you, and they would have crates that they would hold bottles of milk.
It sounds like a business opportunity. Everyone else is delivering everything else. So.
I know, well, I think it still goes on. But anyway, these crates are essentially they're mostly air. So if you imagine the volume of a single crate, 95% of that, 95% void, they are 400 mil high, a high, and I can't remember the exact dimensions of them. I think they must be 800, 800, 400, something like that, or 800, 400, 400. And you just stack them up. So you wrap them in a polythene, generally a Taram-based product, which allows the material to actually soak away, the water to soak away. And then that stores the water through time and gradually allows it to flow out into the soil. So it's not ever hitting hard anywhere downstream and going to cause any flooding. So you've got a volume, you've got 240 square metres here at 0.4 metres deep. So you've got 84 cubic metres of storage in here. That's an engineering calculation. You don't need to worry about it. It's done for you. And that then stores that, gradually percolates away. We've actually got the other leg that comes down here. And it comes in. So all the water basically comes in here before it flows down. That takes care of the road and the drainage in the road. Any questions on that?
So who's actually drawn up this system? Is that an engineer, or is that a role of an architect? Which I think is kind of what you're alluding to earlier.
Generally speaking, these drawings that give the detail all come from the engineers. So
And just based on formula, certain area, certain road length and stuff needs
pretty much. Key thing when you start any site is drainage and levels. So the first thing that we do when we get a site is we want to do a topographical survey. Top to what measure.
There is a level there, and a
There is what?
document with a level as well.
In here, yeah, there's in that there'll be all the levels in
Another
there,
one.
a drawing there with a topo survey. You would need that to get to this stage, because what you effectively want, your starting point for your house, is this thing here. you finish floor level. So everything starts off from how's my drainage going to work, to what level do I build to, and that then allows you to set your site out. Once you've done this bit, the rest of it is actually quite easy. It's quite process driven. This is the tricky bit to get right generally. So that's the road, and that's how the water that falls from the sky, hits the tarmac, discharges in. That's where it ends up. It ends up in this soakaway, and then it will gradually percolate away into the earth.